She works as a strategist at BNP Paribas, where she builds models and algorithms to determine the market trends. The problem today is that while most people believe in doing good, we got blinded by stereotypes. Our judgment got clouded by biases, and we sometimes do harm instead. Racial and religious minorities suffers most. Dawn knows because she volunteers at the Singapore Girls' Home every week, and most of the girls are from underprivileged background. So Dawn wants us to do three things. The first is to take action, the second to volunteer to help, and the final one is to make a difference. And she will speak on the topic of how good people fight bias. Let's put our hands welcome Dawnkwa.
Yay! Okay lah. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. I thought I was a good person. This is because I think I treat cleaners and managers the same. And born in Singapore, we always recite the pledge to be as one united people, regardless of race, language, or religion. But it turns out that I was wrong. I am biased. And unfortunately for you all, so are all of us. This is because societal norms have shaped us in a certain way. We have mirrored other people's biases, and we adopt that as part of our character. And this is why, even though we have good intentions to be good people in our lives, we tend to have biases and stereotypes that we're not even aware of. I learned this when I volunteered at Architects of Life. Architects of Life, also known as COL, is an organization that deals with girls at the girls' home, as well as boys at the Singapore Boys' Home. These youths are so-called at-risk youths, which means that sometimes they have gone through different trials and torments in their lives, and as a result, they enter this home. Some of them are juvenile delinquents, we might call them. So I'm a mentor of a 16-year-old Pakistani Malay girl. In one of my first interactions with her, she told me about her life story, about how her parents are divorced, and her families are now separate. Her sister is also in a hostel, something similar to a girls' home, but for younger children. Now, when I first heard this story, the first reaction that I had, and I actually said this out loud to her, "Oh, is it in your Pakistani blood that you have a sister in a hostel?" And I really regret that sentence. You see, it's so ingrained in me that I've had so much exposure to Pakistani radicals and Muslim radicals that I'm just so used to seeing all this. The first reaction that I had was a stereotype. And look at this, I'm a mentor. I've just discriminated the very girl that I wanted to help in the first interaction that I had with her. And that really taught me a lesson, that I am biased. Now, the next few weeks following after, I really appreciate her for this. She has shown me a world that is really new and different. A world where somebody with as much potential as she has so little to her name. This 16-year-old girl has amazing artistic talent. She draws portraits of people and sells them to make her own money at 16 years old. This is because she can't even find her parents. She doesn't know where her dad and mom is, and she has stopped trying. She has to take care of her sister who is in the hostel. She has to provide the meals for her sister. She has to learn how to cook, clean, and provide for her sister while juggling studies, and also juggling things at the home. She is happy, actually, that she has food provided by the home. She takes her breakfast, which is a small piece of bread, and keeps it for her lunch at recess. Then, at dinner, she's provided food at the home as well. During the weekends, she finds part-time work to ensure the sustainability of both herself and her sister. Now, this girl is only 16-year-old, and she is so mature with so much potential. She is selling her artwork for all this. And all we have done, or rather all I've done, is to stereotype her at the first interaction. Now, I really regret this, and I realized with this bias that We, as good people with good intentions, need to learn how to fight biases in the right way. So every time that I talk to her, I make sure that I don't say things like, I understand what it feels like. Because I know I don't. I've never been in such an underprivileged background. I have a happy family, my dad is here, my brother came just now, they're all supporting me. I don't have to wonder where in the world they are. But for her, it's so different. I never provide a solution for her, like, oh, let's find your father, or let's find your mother. Because I know if there was a solution like that, she would have already engaged in it. Also, sometimes they're just not looking for a solution, they're just looking for somebody who understands them and is willing to give them opportunities to show that they are different. So this book has actually helped me a lot in understanding my implicit biases and helped me to understand how I can be a good person. Now this link here is an implicit association test which helps you understand the biases that you may have implicitly via be it gender or religion or race. Otherwise, if you can't remember the link or you haven't captured it already, you can just Google search Harvard IAT, which stands for Implicit Association Test. Now I'm going to summarize this book very quickly for you, but you can also read this on your own later on. Now, how do we as good people fight bias? Firstly, we need to activate a growth mindset. Learn about your biases. For example, by taking this implicit association test, or by engaging with the discriminated, like how I have over the past few weeks with this girl of mine. Learners don't need to be affirmed as good people. Every time we affirm ourselves by saying, oh yes, I understand how it feels like, oh yes, I have a relative who has been in this situation, we're actually not doing anything for the person who is discriminated. Because all their lives, they've had tailwinds, they've had headwinds blowing at them, pushing them backward. Whereas we with the tailwinds can very easily say that this is all of our work. Now, good people have a growth mindset and they learn from their mistakes. I have learned from mine. The second point here is to put your privilege into good use. So I have a very strong privilege being a Chinese majority in Singapore as a Singaporean. I can take this step forward to protect the discriminated and push them forward, propel them towards better opportunities and privileges in life. And lastly, engage, don't avoid. Don't pretend that we're colorblind. If a Malay is a Malay, then acknowledge them. Don't shuffle it behind or try and hide it below a carpet saying, oh yeah, and don't, not mentioning skin tones or mentioning the use of sunblock, for example. Engage in these biases, understand what they really mean, and that is how we acknowledge this difference and actively work towards a leveling playing field. Now that is all I have to share for today. If you'd like to know more about Architects of Life and also about the book that I've just prescribed, please feel free to engage me after the session. Thank you.
After a speech, I found another bias of myself. I'm biased towards pretty girls.
Me too.
Oh, you too. That's great. Let's welcome our first evaluator to evaluate John's speech, Tony.
This is clearly a very biased evaluation because she's my daughter. And I think she did very well. And everything she said, the way she did it, it was very good. That's my daughter. But I think maybe she was, maybe there was not enough slides. And basically, it's like she's telling about this Pakistani girl. And, is she a Singaporean? I didn't get that part of it. But maybe it doesn't matter. But maybe we should like a little bit more information on that. And I think the presentation is very good. Yeah. Because it really, at the beginning I was like thinking, how is she going to approach good people fight bias? But all the time I was hearing about how she was biased towards the girl. And then when he came with the slide, there was the point that she pointed out. I thought, wow, that's a good one. She did a good job. I think that's about it.
Let's have our second evaluator, Dori, give her evaluation. Let's go ahead and welcome Dori.
I'm surprised I should do evaluation. Yes, I think she has done a very good job. Her voice is very clear and her presentation is very good. And she shared her own story. I will take home point from her, that is that in the first meeting, especially when you are a volunteer, you should not give judgment at the first meeting or be biased. And she was able to acknowledge the part where she was wrong and overcome it. And she shared with us, and I will take this back because I also like to be a volunteer, and I do not know exactly what I should do, but I learned quite a bit from her. Yes, that's right. And her presentation, her slides is very clear, especially in point 4. So moving forward, what she's going to do. So from there, perhaps as I say, I would also approach her how to be a good volunteer, especially in this area. Thank you.
Time we
You're not answering it now.
She's biased.
That's right.
Bias to this young man.
Okay, let's put our hands to welcome our final evaluator, Suresh.
Warm good evening, everyone.
Good
evening, Don. I like your presentation today, and especially the personal story what you have mentioned. It created enthusiasm, curiosity, and I'm able to connect continuously for 5 minutes continuously whenever you are saying that personal story. Well done on that. And I would like to give 2 recommendations. Since you have told the personal story for continuously for 4 minutes, what I felt is, if you would have added the girl picture and
It's not allowed. It's not allowed.
Put his picture.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I thought, okay, then continuously, since you are saying it's for 5 minutes, so I could able to visualize. Okay, since it is not okay, then we'll leave it. Then other recommendation, in your last slide, you have added the sentences. When you were speaking with the points, I was confused whether I need to read the sentences or I need to listen to you. So I recommend, what I can recommend is you just put only the bullet points, okay, instead of putting entire sentences. Okay, so that I can just read the bullet point and I can listen to what you are saying. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
For our
Can I say something? Sure. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Don, I'm really impressed with your presentation. I feel the emotional bond when you convey the story, and it touched me very much. One thing I felt that you can improve is, we all know when you say bias, and bias is bad, you must not be biased, the message, right? And then how to avoid being biased. But you didn't tell us what is so bad about being biased. Right? You assume we all know bias means bad, we must avoid being biased. Right? But there was no example of how people suffer when there's bias. Maybe we already know, but I think it helps as a speaker to say, look at this bias, that's what happened, what you're doing to these people is like that. Right? Unintentionally, this is what you're actually doing. And then it helps us to sink and say, yeah, we must really avoid that. If not, we do not know. Right? Thank you. Oh, yeah. No. You.
let's put our hands to welcome the
Personally, I think Don's story was very, very touching, yeah? Moved all of us. So now we know why we should not be biased. Don, you give a very, very smooth story with beautiful opening, body and conclusion. The body were telling us the lifestyle. You said the lifestyle?
Yeah, the
Architect of life.
Okay, the job was opening, the body had points, and then conclusion, convention. That was very good. it's very hard for me to find something for you to improve because you did it so well. And also the PowerPoint you use were very limited, about four PowerPoints. That is excellent because we do not want you to have many PowerPoints to drown the story. Okay, the PowerPoints are there to complement the story and not to drown the story. That was very well done. I love that. And only thing is, I think if you can ask more questions to your audience, have you been in this situation? Have you been biased before? Probably 1 or 2 questions to engage your audience. That's excellent. On the whole, I think the evaluators, they are very professional evaluators. They're all postmasters. Of course, you are biased. It has to be a bias. Evaluation, I love that. But it's very good. Right? Let's